Hey, I'm Ava Laura.
And I'm Jessica.
And this is Black Leave America podcast, where we highlight holistic wellness, travel, mental health, and self-care through traveling outside of America to reconnect and rediscover who you are. It's time for us to leave any condition that disrupts our peace. Black Women Leave America opens your eyes and explores new ways of living, but more importantly, new ways of being. Because sometimes you have to leave in order to find yourself.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is episode 28 of Black Women Leave America podcast, the live edition. And I am your host, Ava Laura.
And I'm Jessica.
And we are happy to have you back. So we're doing more reaction videos today, specifically from Jessica's namesake. An amazing Black woman who traveled to every country, wrote a book about it, doing her thing. So we have a reaction video from her. We would love to personally interview her. So Jessica, if you are watching, holla. If you know her personally, send her our information. We would love to interview her and have her on the show and just find out more about her experiences traveling and living abroad. Until then, we're going to give you this reaction video. Please continue to subscribe, comment, like, share, and of course, buy us a coffee and sponsor an episode. We'd love that. And Jessica, let's get rolling.
All right, let me go ahead and push the play button here. But let's see what she has to say.
I became the first Black woman to visit every country in the world. I feel like a lot of Black travelers, they'll reach out to me and they'll say, which countries are safest for Black people to travel to? And I totally understand where it comes from. I hate this question because I hate that the world we live in has made people feel like they can't go anywhere they want to go. They have to check their safety. If you can survive being Black in America, you really can travel to any country that you want to go to. What I hope that people get from my journey, if people, read my blog or scroll through my Instagram, I really want everyone in the world to feel comfortable going anywhere in the world. I think that's really important. It's not that anyone has a monopoly on travel or anyone should feel safer than someone else. I do think it's appropriate to adjust when visiting different countries. We can't always be exactly who we are. And I think in particular as Americans, our culture doesn't necessarily fit in a lot of other places. So we have to be very mindful. I pay a lot of attention to what I'm wearing. So in particular, when visiting Muslim countries or just more conservative countries, I'm really careful to adjust my clothing. And I always will land erring on the side of very conservative and then peel back the layers as I feel appropriate. It just takes very slight adjustments. And you have to be intentional. Even if you just take the time to learn, like, hello, how are you? Thank you, please, goodbye, hello. People love that, especially in countries that don't get a ton of visitors. They're already overjoyed to have you in their country. And if you just show a little bit of effort, a little bit of interest in their culture, it's something that brings people so much joy.
All right.
That's so dope. If you're listening to our podcast and not watching on YouTube, I highly recommend you come on over to YouTube. Check us out. The photos, the imagery along with that interview was amazing.
I was just thinking that. Who is taking these photos while she out?
Right, listen, she got a drone, something amazing. And I've heard that. I don't have the book. It's Catch Me If You Can. I've heard that the photos are really amazing in her book. So definitely check that out. Like I said, I would love to interview her. We won't ask you about the safety of the countries, okay? We will ask you something else that our viewers care about. But yeah, there's so much that I have to say just based on that little snippet. But Jessica, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so like I said, I want to know who's taking the pictures.
Yeah.
I want to know too, like, what's her content plan?
Mm.
I'm sorry, you guys, my brain immediately went to digital. Like, she's saying intentional, but I'm like, you're intentional with this interview, sis. Like, the whole part of just being able to have all of that B-roll and have all of the imagery and things that go along with what she's saying. Okay, she's intentional about her business as well. That's so.
Yeah.
As I don't know if she considers herself a travel blogger or, what
Yes, I
she
think
kind
it
of.
is on there. Yeah.
Okay. She's very, like, she's going to places, but she's also capturing content. She's making sure that her lifestyle is paid for by the work that she does in that country. And I'm like, that's so dope. Like, the fact that you can just monetize just living, amazing.
Ooh, monetize living. How about that?
Monetize living. And you can go wherever you want and just be like, yeah, and you get paid for it, right? So that would be, those are my questions to her, if she would ever come on our podcast. But I think also too is the thing of, I feel as though with all of those different places that she's been able to go to, and what she said that really struck me was like, if you can make it in America, you can make it anywhere. I was like,
Yeah.
bar.
Yeah.
Bar.
Yeah.
So anytime your family says, oh, you want to go out there and be like, I went to South Central, I was good, I think I can go. I'm saying that because I feel like that's a popular, place. People know that place is, is what it is. But I can go to my areas that are the hoods over here,
Right.
or
every place got a hood.
Not
Every
even
place.
that. I could just walk down the street as a Black person, right? Going to a grocery store as a Black person and deal with all of the injustices that happens just as we're shopping, collecting groceries and the things that happen there, right? If I could navigate that, I should be good in another country. I think I'll be okay. So I love the fact that she said that.
So the first thing, like I said, obviously the imagery. The other thing is that, and I don't know if she's Black America, meaning born in America, right. Or she's African. She has very African features. I mean, amazing, beautiful. She's just beautiful.
She is amazing face.
And so I love that, right? Like, especially that she is the first Black woman to do that. She's documented it, like you said. She's had some powerful partners, like National Geographics and things like that. And she looks African. I love that. That is such a bold, strong just statement in and of itself, right? The second thing is, it's so interesting when people ask the safety question, right? And that has been a question, right? People have asked that and people have addressed that. These amazing women that we've interviewed have addressed that on this show as well. When I've traveled anywhere, whether it's abroad or whether it is in America, call me naive, call me, I don't know, optimistic. I've never worried about my safety. I just haven't. It was not really, sometimes obviously I want to know about the place. I want to kind of have an idea of what I'm getting into, what is there to do, but I have not worried about safety. I don't know. It's just not a question that comes up for me. Like, if somebody says, oh, let's go here. Oh, well, how safe is it? That's not the question that I'm going to ask. What we doing? When we going? How much is it going to cost? You know what I mean? Like, those are the questions that I'm going to ask. And a lot of it is because I'm free and I'm just down for different experiences. And so I don't think about those things. And I've never been in a position where my safety has been compromised. And so I think maybe if you have a situation where, you grow up in the quote unquote hood, right? Or you've had situations where your safety has been compromised, that's something that's top of mind. But I've never worried about that. So that was the second thing that I thought about. And yes, Jessica, what you said, like, if you can make it here in America, you can make it anywhere. Like, we have a leg up. Yes, there's the quote unquote American dream, but they don't tell you how hard you got to work for that American dream. Especially as Black folks. we I don't know about you, but I remember growing up and my mama always taught me that you got to be better than everybody else, right? You can't just be good. You can't be average. You have to be better than everybody else to be successful. And that's how we were brought up. So yeah, so if you can make it here, you absolutely can make it anywhere. And if you watch a lot of the videos of the women that we've interviewed, please watch the videos. We're doing a lot of these live reactions because you enjoy them and we enjoy doing them. But watch the actual interviews, hearing women, their stories from their own mouths, from their own perspectives. A lot of them will tell you is that when they go abroad, they actually end up, not just surviving, not doing good, but doing great because they are American. And a lot of times they are in spaces that we don't typically show up as Black women, right? It's different. We were talking about Mexico before, like a lot of us are in Mexico. But when you go to some of these other countries, the Middle East and, places outside of Africa where people don't necessarily look like us, right? People notice and people are curious. And a lot of times you end up having more opportunities because you showed up, right? Like Wendy talking about Dubai and how she got to her first business contracts because she showed up and, and did the work and asked and, how she had so many inroads so much easier there than she would ever have them in America. So just something to think about there. It's easier in a lot of these other places as an American woman, as a Black woman, than it is here in America.
Man, yeah,
We can't hear you. You muted yourself. Uh-oh. I see your mouth moving.
So
I see your mouth moving.
I was trying to unmute. Yeah, so I agree. I think she said a mouthful in just those like what minute or two that she had there. But what's interesting too is as we've had this podcast and this kind of platform that we've been building over the last couple of years, I find it interesting that USA Today thinks that this is a topic.
Yeah.
Right.
And how we're seeing today.
Right. And a lot of other publications that we saw and we've noticed as well, right, when we pull up Black women leaving America or why are Black women leaving, it's funny that they're even asking the question, right? It's like we talked about in the last episode how I said it should have like an explanation point behind it, or people act as though it should have an explanation point behind it, and they actually put a question mark behind it. Where these folks are like, well, why? Like, really? For real? You don't know why? You don't hear us? And it's like, yeah, no, actually they don't hear us. They don't.
It is interesting, right? Because we started this podcast, maybe it was pre-COVID, so like 3-4 years ago, right? Maybe a little more. And it is interesting now seeing the traction, right? And seeing how many places are now talking about it. And, I first noticed it with a lot of my clients who have moved abroad and who are doing really well and really loving it. And I started seeing more and more Black women in particular doing it. And so, we were fascinated because, again, like we said, America's a big marketing machine. Who doesn't want to be here? Right. When so many of us are choosing to leave and live that soft life and live our best life, right? As a life coach, I'm always looking at how people can improve their lives, how you can be the best version of yourselves. And a lot of women a lot of us are finding that we can be the best version of ourselves somewhere else. You know, I'm teaching self-care and they're like, well, Ava Laura, it's hard to do those things here. It's hard to have that work-life balance, right? To do that. But if I move to Mexico, if I move to Ghana, if I move to Dubai, you know, wherever it is, I can actually practice these things. I have more freedom. I have the ability to do that. You know, I have a lower cost of living, you know, whatever it is. And, I agree with you. I find the whole thing fascinating that major media companies now are paying attention to this. And what are y'all going to do about it? Like, are you just going to do stories on it as the next thing? But what happens when, you know, all of our beautiful Black women are just like an exodus, right? Like, are you going to try to keep us here? Are we going to finally get reparations? Like, what's going to happen?
You know, as we're kind of talking about this, another thing that's coming to mind for me is there must be a lot of folks searching for it as well.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to do a story on anything that they don't think is going to get a lot of traction. Right? It's going to get a lot of views or get, you know, folks interested in, you know, folks are actually interested in the topic. They do deep research to know what topics they should be speaking on and what articles they should do, and things to that effect. So really interesting at the fact that folks are definitely looking for this. You know, Black women in particular are definitely like, yeah. So what do I need to leave? Right.
Yeah.
Like we said in episode 27, like, you know, the young gal is like, all right, I'm not feeling like this is going to work for me. So what do I need to do? Get out of here.
And you know what's deep? Yeah, what you just said is how many more Black women would be gone if they did feel like they knew what to do. If they did feel like they had the money or they had the plan or they had a way to make money abroad, right? How many more of us would be gone if we weren't worried about our family or, you know, weren't married or had kids or other things that, you know, might be obstacles, right? Because almost every woman that I talk to now, at least at the very least, is down to travel.
Right.
But I would say about a good half of those are like, oh yeah, I would leave and move to another country given the right circumstances, hands down. Like we ain't got no more loyalty towards the US of A.
Right.
We are loyal to ourselves.
And as it should be, right? As we should.
As it should be, as it always should have been, as our ancestors did not have the right, the privilege, the freedom to be. Now we are.
Yes. All of it. All of it. So look, listen, don't do it for yourself. Do it for your ancestors. Those ones that could not, right? Who, you know, we carry that with us. So yeah, that was a good little snippet. That was a really good little snippet. So she did a great
there's a lot more. So but again, if she came on our show, Jessica Nabongo, we would love to have you on our show. Because I have so many more questions.
I have
so many more. And I promise I will not ask some same questions that everybody else is asking that I don't care about. No way. I don't care about the same thing. So I wouldn't ask you that. We got some other questions, okay?
Yeah. We have questions and we need answers from the source. How about that?
Absolutely.
How about that part? Anywho. So yeah, we'll see you guys. Go ahead and tag her down below. Let's like tag bomb her and get her on the show. You guys let her know that she should definitely show up here and be on the show and be a guest. Whether you're watching this or listening to this on Spotify or any of our other channels or other podcast outlets, or if you're watching this on YouTube or you're seeing a little snippet of this on one of our social media channels, go ahead and tag her down below and let's get her on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead, hit that subscribe, like, comment below. You know, we always respond back, even if we're a little late. It's okay. We do respond back.
Yes.
And we look forward to your sponsorship. Send us a coffee, sponsor some episodes. And until then, we will see you next time with another edition of Black Women Leave America. Peace.